Then we cut to the Steamworks, as per the original film, where Thomas is getting repaired at the Steamworks, and the stuff, everything that goes on at the Steamworks happens as usual, but there's some changes. Diesel and Rosie have a few speaking roles in the film, and Skarloey, as well as some of the other narrow gauge engines, have make some appearances, as well as some cameos and speaking roles in the film as well. And then we get the conversation between Thomas and Victor stays the same as per the original film, but we get an extra scene where Thomas asks both Skarloey and Rheneas if they know who Hero is, and then Skarloey talks to Thomas, and then Skarloey tells Thomas that he knew who Hero was, as Hero often used to visit the Skarloey Railway back before, or he was abandoned in the forest. And the reason for Skarloey being at the Steamworks is because Skarloey is getting a new coat of paint for being such a hard worker. Well, and Rheneas is at the Steamworks because he's being fitted with new side rods after his old mainly due to his old side rods being worn out, and most of the other narrow gauge engines mainly make background appearances at the Steamworks with minor speaking roles. And then we get the same scene as in the original film, where Victor roasts Spencer, or Victor roasts Spencer, which is hilarious. And the scene where Victor roasts Spencer, some of the narrow gauge engines also laugh at Spencer's misfortune of being roasted by Victor. And then the scenes of the Steamworks with Thomas, Victor, Kevin, as well as Skarloey and some of the narrow gauge engines remains the same as per the original film. And Diesel and Rosie also still have some speaking roles in this rewrite as well. And then from the scene onward, the rest of the film. The rest of the film plays out normally, with Thomas hiding from Spencer to avoid being seen by him, as well as Thomas returning to the forest and giving Hero the parts he found at the Steamworks, and then Thomas notices that, and then just like in the original film, Thomas notices that the Duke and Duchess's summer house is being built near Hero's hideout, and so Thomas gets worried about this, and then Thomas decides to address this issue to all of his friends at Timoth Sheds, as in the original film. And then, just like in the original film, Sir Topham Hatt arrives just like in the original film, and tells Thomas not to be participating in races, and not participating in what Spencer is doing, just like as per the original film. Then we cut to the next day, where Thomas is delivering some cargo, and then Percy arrives with some mail cars after Percy had been delivering the mail all night, and then Percy asks Thomas if he can hide his mail cars, and then Thomas agrees to this as per the original film. And then the scenes where Percy goes to hide his mail cars remain the same. And the scene where Spencer teases Thomas remains the same as per the original film. Then we cut back to Thomas at Hero's hideout, And then Thomas's driver and fireman bring some more parts for Hero after Hero to fix Hero up. And then the conversation between Thomas and Hero remains the same. And then the scene with Thomas and Spencer remains the same as per the original film, although with less narration. This scene right here also remains the same as it was in the original movie. And when Thomas and Percy arrive at the Steamworks, the scene is mostly the same, except Skarloey, as well as some of the other narrow gauge engines, are at the Steamworks, as I mentioned earlier. And these scenes remain the same as well, with Thomas as well as Percy finding more parts to fix Hero with. This scene also remains the same as well. And then, just like the original film, Thomas addresses the fact that he found Hero to the other engines as per the original film. Then it cuts to the next day where Thomas is working as hard as he can, as well as trying to evade Spencer. But Spencer is secretly spying on Thomas, and the scene where Thomas and Gordon both wink at each other is the same as well. As well as these scenes of Thomas and Gordon, because I just love these scenes. The scenes at the Steamworks remain the same as per the original movie. And Rusty also has a few speaking lines at the Steamworks, as well as Freddy. And then Sir Top Matt arrives and questions Thomas and Percy why they aren't doing their work, and this scene remains the same as per the original movie. And then Thomas and Percy both go off to Hero's hideout to bring Hero some of his parts as well. And also the whole thing of Thomas thinking that Sir Top Matt would scrap Hero is also removed in this version of the movie, because, as we all know, Sir Top Matt would never, and I mean never, scrap any of his engines. Because Sir Top Matt has always been about restoring older engines, as proven in the season 3 episode Escape, when Oliver was restored. So, and these scenes of Thomas and Percy heading back to the sheds while Spencer secretly spies on them remains the same. Then it cuts to the next day where Thomas and Percy are talking to each other whilst puffing down the line, and then we cut to Emily at shunting some trucks at this junction thingy, and in this scene, Duck and Stanley as well. Duck and Stanley also have some speaking roles in this scene, and Harvey also makes a small cameo appearance as well. In this scene. The scene where Emily and Spencer have a little conversation remains the same as it was in the original film. So does this scene as well. And then we cut back to Thomas and Percy as they're talking to Hero in his hideout after Hero has been given some spare parts to restore him, and Hero thanks Thomas and Percy for partially restoring Hero. And then this scene remains the same, as Thomas and Percy also promise to protect Hero. And then we cut to the next day where Thomas and Percy go to the Farquhar Quarry, and Spencer, as well as Mavis, are here as well. But for some changes, Bill and Ben. Bill and Ben also make a few appearances at the quarry where Mavis is at, and in the scene where Spencer gets covered in coal dust. Bill and Ben laugh at Spencer's misfortune, which would also serve as karma for Spencer for making fun of Bill and Ben for calling them small earlier in the film. And the scene, and then these minor scenes remain the same as well. But in the scene where Edward and Henry are taking Spencer to the works, instead it is Donald and Douglas who are taking Spencer to the works instead.